3 now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm filling in for Susan today. And let's start right away with weather. Jacob Montesano is here now with your first warm forecast. Jacob, has the rain stopped out there yet?
No, it does not want to let up. Now, it's mostly a mist right now. It is very light, but I feel like it's been raining nonstop since well before sunrise yesterday. And although it is going to clear up overnight, we still may see some rainfall for the next couple of hours. But similar to right now, it is going to be pretty light. And as you can see, there's no rain showing up in Dane County, but still falling here. Now, as we take a look at the rainfall forecast going forward, again, it's going to be pretty broken up, kind of what it is right now, but we're still expecting that rain to last until possibly as late as around midnight to 2 a.m. But once we get closer to Thursday, it looks like all that rain will have cleared out of the area, and then we're going to be fairly dry going forward. Now, on top of the rain, it certainly has been very chilly, upper 40s, lower 50s right now. The good news is that temperatures won't change too much overnight, and they are going to be warmer tomorrow, with low temperatures dropping to around 45 degrees for much of the area. But I'll talk more in detail about the slow warm-up that we're expecting. I'll have the details coming up a bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. We have some breaking news today. The man suspected of hitting a biker and leaving the scene earlier this month is in jail. Janesville police say they arrested 30-year-old Cade Larson today for a crash near Pine Tree Plaza. Shortly after midnight on May 12th, two people were riding their motorbikes on Deerfield Drive when a car hit one of them and then drove away. Larson is facing 2 counts of attempted homicide and 1 count for the hit and run. He will remain in the Rock County Jail until his initial court appearance.
Madison police are investigating an incident of shots fired on the west side after recovering multiple shell casings. At about 12:30 this morning, officers responded to South Gammon Road near Raymond Road for reports of shots fired. They found shell casings there, but no one reported any injuries, and there was not any property damage. Police are asking anyone with information about this incident to contact the Madison Area Crime Stoppers, 608-266-6014.
8 people are without a home right now after a fire early Tuesday morning. The Beloit Fire Department says crews responded to Burton Street at about 1:40 in the morning yesterday. They found heavy smoke coming from an apartment. Someone inside had to go to the hospital. The American Red Cross is helping the people who lost their homes, and the fire department does not have a damage estimate just yet. And taking a live look at the U.S. Capitol, where House GOP leaders are pushing for a vote tonight on what the president is calling his big, beautiful bill. House Speaker Mike Johnson and House Leader Steve Scalise are rejecting hardliners' demands to delay the vote until after the Memorial Day weekend. The bill includes spending cuts, notably by the billions to Medicaid, and extends the president's tax cuts from his first term. Republican holdouts are set to meet with the president shortly about the matter.
At the White House today, President Trump hosted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. It comes amid unfounded claims from the president about a genocide against white farmers, or Afrikaners as they're referred to in the country. Earlier this year, South Africa enacted a law that empowers the government to redistribute land with the goal of reversing racial inequities. Currently, black South Africans only own 4% of private land, while making up 80% of the population. In the Oval Office, the two presidents shared a tense exchange.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens to them.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people.
All of this comes a week after the U.S. welcomed a group of white South Africans who were granted refugee status. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has moved to ban most other refugees from entering the United States. Well, imagine the proceeds from the sale of a new, beautiful home, all going to fund research and care for children with cancer. Well, that is exactly what the St. Jude Dream Home giveaway is all about. And News 3 Now is proud to be a sponsor. And it was floor signing day at the Dream Home in Waunakee today, the first for St. Jude in Wisconsin. All of these contributing vendors and suppliers had a chance to write a special message to St. Jude patients. Victory Homes and the dozen or more trade partners in the area signed the floor in one special room there. Everyone from electric, painting, home furnishings, and more giving 100% of their parts and labor back to St. Jude Children's Research in Memphis. And when I asked why, the answer was simple, especially for Amanda Knopp from Electric One, who lost her own daughter at the age of 8.
She taught us a lot about life, and so when we had the opportunity to be involved with St. Jude's and to help another child and another family walk that same journey that we were walking or had walked, I wanted to be able to contribute and do whatever we could.
Victory Homes let us know this house will be in the parade of homes in mid-June and for sale around that time as well. News 3 Now will keep you posted on this home and, of course, soon introduce you to another family whose lives were touched by the care at St. Jude.
After nearly 20 years, Rock County is finally on track to get a children's museum, a museum that would impact more than 26,000 children under 12 years old in the county.
It's great. Our Ellie La Liberté shows us what a museum could mean for the kids and community.
Well, if you've driven through Janesville, there's a good chance you've seen the old First National Bank. Well, it's turning to this. The Children's Museum of Rock County will have exhibits that reflect the community, like a water play area that's meant to resemble the Rock River. The president of the museum says the goal is, in part, to help Rock County children develop social emotional skills.
We are targeting kids 0 to 8 years old. So this is about early childhood education to augment public and private schools in Rock County, to give them experiential learning where they touch, taste, run, sweat.
The museum is expecting about 81,000 annual visitors, generating an annual impact of about $4 million.
It looks so cool.
Yeah, the renderings are really impressive.
I love seeing that. So, Ellie, what's been the holdup to get it where it is now?
Yeah, I mean, as you guys mentioned, nearly 20 years in the making. So It started back in 2008. The recession hit, that put it on hold. They tried to start it up again a couple years later, back in like 2018, 2019, but getting the funding has been pretty difficult.
Yeah, so where does that put the project now then?
Yeah, so thanks to a recent donor, the project is just $500,000 short of the $15 million goal. They're hoping to start construction here at the end of the summer.
And we have one more question for you. Now, your full story airs at 10 o'clock tonight. What can we expect?
Yeah, so the full story tonight, I'll introduce you to a mom and a business owner. She says that the museum here will impact her in more ways than one. I'll also break down a little bit more of the educational impact that this museum could have. So stay tuned tonight at 10.
Yeah. Those are always fun.
Very good. Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you.
Well, next on Live at 4, where the president's tax cuts and spending bill stand with lawmakers on Capitol Hill.
Plus, a new business in Fitchburg is opening today. Our Tanisha Shaw is live from Crash Box Therapy. We'll learn all about it when we're back.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Well, on the campaign trail, it's rare that you'll see a Republican stump for votes in the middle of deep blue Dane County. But last night, voters were able to meet with one of the Republicans running for governor. Political reporter Will Keneally joins us with more. Will?
That's right. Josh Schoeman here is one of the first candidates to enter the race, one of the first Republicans, and we're expecting to see more later on. Now, while he has the field all to himself, Schoeman is traveling across the state to meet with voters, including on Madison's north side at a Pints and Politics event sponsored by the Dane County Republicans.
Yeah, I mean, being here present in Dane County I think is critically important. You know, there are a lot of Republicans in Dane County, but there's a lot of good Wisconsinites. And, you know, having these conversations face to face about what the future of this state should look like, hearing it from them, and then carrying that vision together.
See a handful of other Republicans enter the race, but there remains an open question of whether Governor Evers will run for a third term next fall. Now, he has told us that he's waiting for the state budget process to finish up before making that decision.
Ahead of the holiday weekend, the Federal Aviation Administration is limiting flights at Newark Liberty International Airport. The airport is limited to 28 arrivals and departures per hour. Those numbers could rise after some daily runway construction. These changes follow weeks of flight delays due to a worker shortage, and that's in part due to instances of air traffic controllers losing their radar and radios briefly last month, which caused a number of them to take trauma leave.
Another inmate who escaped a New Orleans jail is back in custody. 5 remain at large. It's been 1 week since the jailbreak. Louisiana authorities are charging an employee for allegedly helping. The maintenance worker is accused of turning off the water to a cell where inmates removed a toilet, sawed through steel bars, and then broke out. The worker says the inmates threatened him into helping. Local and state officials say not enough money is going into keeping the jail secure, and now they're asking for more money.
Target stores are warning its prices are going to get higher. The retailer is cutting its earnings in part due to sales falling more than expected in the first quarter. Quarterly sales at Target fell 2.8% from last year to $23.85 billion. Now that's short of what Wall Street had projected. The retailer says tariffs will make its products more expensive, but didn't offer specifics on what that would look like.
The president will use a Boeing jet from Qatar. The Defense Department says it has accepted the Boeing 747 in accordance with all federal rules and regulations. The DoD says it will work to ensure proper security measures and functional mission requirements are considered for an aircraft used to transport the president. Valued at $400 million, the jumbo jet will be donated to Mr. Trump's future presidential library just before he leaves office.
At a hearing today, a federal judge said the Trump administration violated an order that bars officials from deporting people to countries they aren't from without the chance to challenge their removal. Yesterday, detainees of various nationalities were placed on a flight. Now, their lawyers say it was destined for war-torn South Sudan. The judge said he could hold some Trump administration officials in contempt, but is looking at options to specify an amount of time the DHS has to give detainees before deporting them. It is not clear right now where those detainees are.
I'd say it is a good day to grab a cup of coffee, a blanket, and just park it on the couch, huh?
That's how I'm feeling too. What do you say, Jacob?
Yeah, that's been the case over the last couple of days, specifically today and yesterday. But it is going to get better, although it will get better kind of slowly. But we'll see 60s pretty quickly, and we're going to be dry starting tomorrow morning. Now, some frost is possible for the overnight hours, both tomorrow and Friday night, as we could see those temperatures dropping into the 30s. Now, we are going to see some comfortable temperatures over Memorial Day weekend, but they will be a little bit below normal still. However, it's going to be a lot better than what we've seen today and what we saw yesterday. Now, looking at that current rain, still seeing some light showers, but again, it was still raining here at the station in Madison despite nothing showing up on radar, so that may be the case for your location. We're going to continue to see some of these light showers throughout the night, but it's not going to be as heavy as what we have already seen. Looking at the amount of rainfall, this is all radar estimated, so it is possible that the totals are a little bit different, but pretty much everybody around 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Definitely some good rain, as we have seen some drought conditions form in southern Wisconsin, and we didn't get enough for any flooding concerns to really happen. So overall, this wasn't the worst news, although obviously it was very unpleasant outside. Now, as we take a look at the rainfall for the overnight hours, again, we're going to continue to see some scattered, very light showers. Nothing will be too heavy, but it may continue till about midnight. Then for Thursday morning, will be cloudy but dry, and then we could see some sunshine later in the day Thursday. Now, looking at the temperature forecast, they're not going to change too much for the overnight hours. We'll see temperatures only drop a few degrees into the middle 40s. And then for the afternoon tomorrow, they are going to rise to about 60 for Madison, 50s further east, middle 60s further west. But Thursday night, we'll see some clearer skies, which will allow temperatures to drop into the lower 40s, maybe upper 30s. And although Friday afternoon will be just as nice or just as warm, or just as the similar temperatures compared to tomorrow, with lower 60s expected. The overnight forecast for Friday has potentially even cooler temperatures, as we could see some areas dropping into the middle 30s, which could lead to some frost forming. So definitely got to keep an eye on that. Now, the good news is that once we get to the weekend, the frost is not as much of a concern, as we'll see high temperatures in the middle 60s and lows in the middle 40s. And then the temperatures will continue to warm up after that, with highs in the middle to lower 70s for the middle of the week, possibly 80s returning by next weekend. So really going forward, we're going to see some pretty nice weather. Definitely a little bit still on the cooler side for the rest of this week, but much better than today. And there's not a lot of rain in the forecast either.
All right, thank you, Jacob. If you need something to do inside right now, a grand opening for Crash Box Therapy is happening in Fitchburg.
I love this one. We first reported on this in April, but now the small business is celebrating with the community. Our Tanisha Shaw is live in for Fitchburg. So Tanisha, what exactly is Crash Box Therapy? We're dying to know.
Hi, Sarah and Brady. I'm going to let you know what Crash Box Therapy is. I am in Fitchburg right now here at Crash Box Therapy during their grand opening ceremony. Everyone's so excited. You can probably hear them. We have the mayor of Fitchburg, Julia Arata-Frada here. It's like a lot of good vibes. That's how I would say this day is going so far. And right after this live hit that I'm doing right now, they're actually going to do a ribbon cutting, and we're going to see more of that at 5 or 6. But first of all, I have a supporter. April Kigea. First of all, April, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
And you're a supporter of this business. You told us that you've done Crash Box Therapy.
Yes, I have.
Okay, so for the people at home, what exactly is that?
So basically it's a release where you can come and you can smash glass, you can smash microwaves, radios, you can actually throw plates against the wall. As you can see behind you, there's helmets, there's, it's basically a great time. You can come and do some aggression. You can do a lot of great things to release some stress and just get some energy out.
Okay, so it's 4 p.m., which means around 5 p.m. people are going to get off of work. They're probably stressed, and they might be like, I might want to try this out. So how did you feel after doing Crash Box Therapy?
It was amazing. It was a great way to release some stress. You can come with a group of friends, you can come with coworkers, with your boss, with whoever. There's also a great room where you go afterwards where you can decompress. So she doesn't just let you leave after you release stress. You go in, you drink some tea, you take selfies, you can just, calm down, listen to some nice music, and just kind of like calm your nerves a little bit afterwards too.
So it's really a 2-for-1. So be honest, which did you like more? Did you like the smash room more, or did you like the tea and like the calming, area more?
I like the smash room, but also in addition to smash room, there's a paint room where you could throw paint. You can, and then you can put canvases on the wall, and then you can take the canvas home with you too. So you don't just get to smash. You can also do some painting if you want to do that as well.
Would you do it again?
I would, for sure. Yep.
I'm going to have a chance to do it tonight at 5 and 6 p.m. I'm very excited. This is the end of my work shift too, so I need to let off some rage and some steam. So I'm so excited. I hope that y'all can watch along with me at 5 and 6 p.m. tonight. I need to get ready for that, Sarah and Brady, so I'm going to send it back to you in the studio. Reporting in Fitchburg, Tanasia Shaw.
Tanasia has a lot ahead of her today.
I am jealous. Can we admit that?
Yeah. I'd love to go to one of those things. Don't try that at home, though, with your own dishes.
Right, exactly. Be very careful.
Thanks, Tanasia. Coming up on Live at 4, the Mallards are back in action in a few days.
Josh Spreiter gives us a preview of how the team is celebrating 25 years in the 608.
The Mallards return to play this weekend.
Josh Spreiter is at Warner Park with the big milestone that they're marking this year.
25 years of Madison Mallards, that's the big milestone that they're celebrating for the 2025 season, which kicks off this weekend. Sam Rubin is the general manager here. Sam, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
You guys are gearing up for the 25th season.
Yes.
I mean, that's a huge milestone in baseball.
It is, yeah. We're super excited, and we always say that we wouldn't be here without the Madison community supporting us, and that's really what we're here for, is to provide entertainment and family fun and to make Madison a better place.
So you guys have been busy getting ready for the season. A little bit rainy out there on the ballpark today, but you guys are ready for Memorial Day, which is opening day.
Yeah, we are. So Monday, 4 o'clock, first pitch. Gates open at 3 o'clock. So what else could you ask for a Memorial Day celebration? I mean, baseball and fun and hot dogs and all the things.
This is a tradition, yeah.
It is, yeah.
And you guys are excited because 25 years, you have some big celebrations to honor this year, too.
Yeah, so we're hosting the All-Star Game this year, the Northwoods League All-Star Game. We're really excited to be doing that. We haven't done that in 10 plus years. And so we're doing a drone show after that. We're also doing our second drone show on May 30th, so next week essentially. And we're excited to be doing 2 drone shows for Madison. So the past few years we've done one, we've seen really great success, and then this year we had to bring in a second one. So
that's so cool. And you guys are all about the fan experience. That's really what a Mallards game is all about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we want people to come out and have affordable family fun, make memories, and celebrate good times, right? We're here for birthday parties and bachelor parties and all of the things. Anything that you could possibly want to do with others, do with people, we have an option for you. We have affordable tickets. We have, again, hot dogs and cold beer and all of the fun things that you could ever want at a baseball game.
And plenty of tickets still available for families looking for a day out.
Yeah, exactly. So we start on Monday and we go through mid-August. So we have a full slate of games that's coming up, and we're excited to see everyone out here this summer.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so excited. So if people are interested, if families are like, hey, let's check it out, what do they need to know?
MallardsBaseball.com, that has everything. So our promotional schedule is completely public and out, so you can check everything out, all the different promotions we're doing. we have fireworks and again the drone shows and all of those big things that we're doing. And so our website, we have an incredible staff, an incredible team here to help you and decide what's best for whatever it is you want to celebrate.
Well, happy 25 years.
Thank
Huge
you.
milestone.
Yeah.
You're welcome. If you'd like to learn more about the 25th anniversary here for the Madison Mallards or also the 2025 season, just go to the story up on channel3000.com. At the Duck Pond, I'm Josh Ryder, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. And in case you were wondering, I'm sitting next to an honorary mallard. You get to do something fun for them.
Right. Last season, the Epilepsy Foundation of Wisconsin, we did a nonprofit game there, and they let me throw out the first pitch.
What was that like?
Less intimidating than I thought. Although I was telling Brady when we were in commercial break, there was a line behind me of young kids ready with their glove, like all excited, and they probably threw it twice as far.
I bet you did great.
I did fine. It was fun. And Mallard's games really are awesome.
Oh, very good.
All right, well, still ahead on Live at 4, how Wisconsin's dairy farmers feel about having their product tested for the avian flu.
Plus the effects of tragedy on students. Armand Rahman speaks with a crisis counselor 2 days after 2 students died at UW-Platteville.
Live at 4.
Well, that turkey's just gobbling up some of that rain there, taking a little bath, getting those feathers nice and shiny for summer.
And you can see the turkey goes with the weather words. Warming up slowly, just hanging out there. And probably on the weather patio. Jacob Montesano's out there. I know the turkeys have visited, but doesn't look too nice right now.
Yeah, the rain just does not seem to want to stop here in southern Wisconsin. We continue to see it right now, and we're still going to see some rain for the next several hours. Let's take a look at the current radar. Right now, there is more consistent rain closer to Milwaukee, but still seeing that light mist and some light sprinkles across Madison and surrounding areas. And as we take a look at the forecast, that's going to continue throughout the rest of the evening and into the overnight hours. Now, once we get to early Thursday morning, still some sprinkles possible, but closer to sunrise Thursday, that's when the rain will clear out, and then we're going to be pretty dry for the rest of the week and much of next week as well. So looking at the evening forecast, some light rain is going to continue. Temperatures not changing too much, still chilly in the upper 40s. And for the overnight forecast, those lows will drop into the middle 40s. Could see a few areas get close to 30s further north, but for the most part, we're going to stay in the 40s as cloudy skies will continue. And then for Thursday, will be a lot better. Still pretty easily below normal, though. Highs will be around 60 for Madison, lower 60s further west, upper 50s further east. Now, temperatures will continue warming up from there, but it's going to take a while before we get back to what we normally see for this time of the year, which is the lower 70s. So we're going to have a lot of 60s, so certainly better than today. I'll talk more in detail about that forecast, though, coming up a bit later.
Jacob. We have more breaking news today. UW Health and Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield have come to an agreement. That means members of Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield in Wisconsin will be able to receive care at all UW Health locations. UW Health released a statement on the matter, reading in part, "We're especially pleased that this long-term agreement helps ensure members can continue seeing the doctors they trust while providing more stable, predictable health care costs for years to come."
Well, the UW-Platteville campus community is still working towards healing after the deadly shooting between 2 recent grads on Monday.
Armand Rahman is there now with the crisis counselor for more on how students are coping and the resources that are available to them. Armand?
Yes, Brady and Sarah, I just spoke to a mental health professional now that says that students are still working through the grief in their own unique ways right now. University officials tell me that they have their 3 full-time therapists and professionals with Empathia Health and Mantra Health have been working here since Monday. Now, university officials say they are offering counseling and time with therapy dogs inside Wilgus Hall on Monday. That's where police found Kelsey Martin shot and Hallie Helms, who shot herself. The 2 had just graduated days before, and crisis counselors say while little is still known about what happened between the 2 girls that led to the shooting, it's important to keep in mind that the end of college life is a transitional period that can bring new, intense, and sometimes overwhelming feelings for graduating students that you should be aware of, so check in on your friends and peers.
Really, if somebody is struggling with that, most people transition well. And so if somebody's struggling with that, then obviously we want to make sure that we get them connected with support systems as well as resources to help them process it. If they're feeling stuck or feeling like it's really heavy on them, to go through that transition.
The university will continue offering walk-in urgent counseling sessions this week from 8 to 4 p.m. and virtual counseling from Mantra Health. Faculty and staff can schedule individual and group counseling through Essentra Health on site, and drop-in sessions were available in the student center today. Obviously, this is a very dark way to not only end your school year, but your college career. But university officials say they want students to know that they have support even after they leave campus. For now, reporting live on UW-Platteville campus, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Arman. Well, on Monday, the union representing the nurses of Unity Point Health Meriter announced they plan to go on strike next week.
And today, the hospital and union met for what appears to be one last time before next week's strike. News 3 Now's Jalen Banks joins us now with what came from that meeting.
Unity Point Health Meriter and the union representing its nurses had one last chance Tuesday to strike a deal before a planned strike next week. But the hospital shares with us that may no longer be the case. The hospital said Wednesday that SEIU Wisconsin, the union representing the nurses, canceled a May 26 bargaining session and offered May 29th as their next available date. Roughly 1,000 nurses at the hospital are set to go on strike May 27th.
This is not something we want to do. We do not want to strike. But on the other hand, you know, nurses are at that front level of patient view. We are the ones who are providing that bedside care and keeping people alive.
Unity Point Health Meriter says the healthcare provider has approached negotiations in good faith and that the hospital will stay open during the strike. For now, reporting in Madison, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
All right, Jalen, thank you. And we will hear more from both parties tonight on News 3 Now at 6.
To Wall Street now. Stocks slumped today after Treasury yields climbed on concerns about U.S. debt. The Dow dropped 817 points. The Nasdaq is down 270 points. And the S&P 500 is down 96 points.
Just one day after announcing her candidacy, Judge Chris Taylor is receiving endorsements. Liberal Justices Rebecca Dallet, Jill Karofsky, Janet Protasewicz, and Justice-elect Susan Crawford all voiced their support for Taylor's candidacy. Judge Taylor previously served as a Democrat in the state assembly and as the public policy director for Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin. She will take on incumbent Rebecca Bradley, who is running for a second tenure term.
Wisconsin is starting to test milk samples from dairy farms for avian flu.
This is part of a new program called the National Milk Testing Strategy, announced by the State Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. Our Merrill Hubbard brings us to the village of Dane to see how dairy farms are affected.
I've spent the day talking to Wisconsin dairy farmers who say that they're already used to constant testing on their milk for things like antibiotics and for quality control. And with this new program, the first test for avian flu, they say it's not going to change their day-to-day.
From the farmer level, we'll see really no impact from the testing part of it because it will be just another test run on the quality and antibiotic samples that are already being pulled, you know, on every pickup.
John Haig is one of the owners of Haig Dairy, a farm with about 115 milking cows, and he supports the new program. From it, one milk sample will be obtained per dairy farm each month and tested at the Wisconsin Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory. Bird flu has not been detected in dairy herds in Wisconsin, and John wants it to stay that way.
We hope that we never see it here in Wisconsin, you know, but if it is, let's be proactive and get on top of it right away to keep it from spreading and getting as bad as it has in the other states.
John says consumers do not have to worry about buying milk at the store because pasteurization kills the virus. Reporting in the village of Dane, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Merrill. Coming up on Live at 4, new data shows overdose deaths are down in the U.S.
But the funding for programs that help Americans with substance use disorder could shrink. We speak with a nonprofit leader about what kinds of effects that could have.
Jacob is back now with a look at our first warn forecast. Did I hear you say frost earlier?
Oh, no.
Yeah, we could see some areas see some patchy frost out there as temperatures may drop into the 30s for the next couple of nights. Not necessarily tonight, but Thursday and Friday night. But by the time we get to Memorial Day weekend, it will be a little bit warmer, and we're not going to be as concerned about the frost potential at that point. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, still seeing those showers out there. They just don't seem to go away, and they're going to continue possibly for the next several hours, but we're not going to see as much rain going forward as we have already. We've seen about 1 to 2 inches of rain over the last 48 hours. Definitely some much needed rain, as some areas have been seeing a drought form, but this rain certainly has mitigated that. Now, as we take a look at the rainfall forecast for the overnight hours, again, the rain is going to be light, but it is just going to be very persistent. It's going to take its sweet time getting out of here, but once we get to Thursday morning, it looks like it will finally clear out of the area, especially after sunrise Thursday, with cloudy skies to start the day, and then some peaks of sunshine are possible for the afternoon and evening. Now, as far as temperatures, again, tonight it's not going to be quite as cool as tomorrow or Friday night. We'll have temperatures only drop a few degrees from what they are right now into the middle 40s. Highs will then be near 60 for Thursday, so a lot better than today, but still pretty easily below normal. And then for Thursday night, we could see low temperatures dropping into the lower 40s, upper 30s, especially for Madison and areas to the east. But then it's going to get even cooler for Friday night. We'll once again see high temperatures near 60 for Madison. But looking at Friday night into Saturday morning, we could see some lows in the middle to potentially lower 30s for areas east of Madison. Not going to be as cool in southwestern Wisconsin, but these temperatures could definitely produce some frost by the time we get to Saturday morning. Now, for the weekend, it will be a lot better. High temperatures will be in the middle to upper 60s with more sunshine. Maybe a small chance of rain Sunday, but otherwise pretty good. Still a little bit below normal, but compared to today, it's going to be a lot better. And obviously with the sunshine and little wind, it will feel a lot warmer. And looking at the 7 to 10 day forecast, the near average temperatures and then above average temperatures will return by the middle and end of next week. 70s by Wednesday, possibly 80s by next Saturday. So a pretty good Memorial Day weekend. Again, a little bit on the cooler side, but during those afternoon hours, it's going to be very nice. And we do have a small chance of rain, although it doesn't look like we'll see much. And as the days go by, it looks like that rain chance even gets smaller and smaller. So after the rain clears out, we'll see some patchy frost. But beyond that, once we get to the weekend, we're looking very good for much of next week as those temperatures slowly warm back up into the 70s and possibly even 80s by next weekend.
All right, getting better and better. Thank you, Jacob. Coming up on Live at 4, how cuts to federal funding could impact substance use disorder treatment.
And later, when to watch the final episode of Survivor's latest season.
Welcome back, everyone. Last week, we reported drug overdoses in the U.S. fell drastically, 27% between 2023 and 24.
That's the lowest those rates have been in 5 years. In part, the CDC credits more funding approved by Congress for the improvement. But now some of that money is in jeopardy. Joining us now to talk about what's at stake, Angela Kennecke, the founder and CEO of Emily's Hope, a group advocating for substance use disorder prevention, awareness, and recovery. Angela created it after losing her daughter, Emily, to accidental fentanyl poisoning in 2018. Angela, thanks for being on with us again.
Thank you for having me.
Well, fentanyl continues to drive those deaths. Wider access to the reversal drug naloxone or Narcan is credited with the dips that we're seeing. But what's at stake if the Trump administration cuts about $56 million in grants that help put naloxone into communities?
Well, it is concerning because the Trump administration declared the opioid crisis as a public health crisis, and that it is a great thing to declare it as a public health crisis, and we should treat it as such. And part of that is providing naloxone to individuals, but especially to first responders. And these cuts that you're talking about were specifically targeted for naloxone training and naloxone provided to first responders. And I would argue that they are the people who need it the most, right? The folks in the ambulances and the fire trucks that respond to the scenes of an overdose, that are first on the scene, that can administer naloxone immediately. And we know that naloxone has saved tens of thousands of lives. When you talked about that number going down, Brady, that's about 30,000 fewer deaths than the year before. And that's huge. And it's not just naloxone, but it's a huge part of it.
And Angela, we know that recently hundreds of addiction experts have actually sent a letter to Congress warning about the consequences if they reduce that funding for programs that prevent drug-related deaths. Are you hopeful lawmakers will listen, and if not, what happens next?
I am hopeful because this is a health issue. And so, yes, we do need to stop fentanyl from pouring into this country. However, there's enough fentanyl in storage right now to kill all of us, several times over. So the fentanyl is already here. And in addition to addressing the stopping the fentanyl from coming into this country, we need to treat people suffering from substance use disorder. We need to make that treatment available to anybody that needs it. And that's how you lessen the demand, in addition to prevention. But we have to treat the people who are suffering, and we cannot afford to make cuts in those areas.
You've spoken very bravely and honestly about the grief attached to losing your daughter, Emily, and also the stigma. There are individuals who believe wider access to naloxone essentially gives permission to people to use drugs. I guess they view it as if you eliminate the get out of jail free card, and I'm using quotations, you can eliminate substance use disorder. What is your perspective on that?
You know, sadly, I have seen and heard many of those comments, or just people who say, just let them die. They're addicts, and there's so much stigma. And it's heartbreaking to me to hear those things, because every person who has died, like my daughter, is someone's daughter, someone's child, someone's aunt, uncle, brother, sister, mother, father, means something to somebody. And there's so much collateral damage from one death. So many others are impacted and affected. Their mental health is affected. The grief is enormous. And so we cannot dismiss people as junk. We cannot do that. So we need to be able to have the naloxone and to administer the naloxone to keep people alive, to give them the chance and the hope for recovery. I just did an interview with a woman yesterday who was saved with our Emily's Hope naloxone 9 times. And then she finally went into recovery, and she's been in recovery for a few months now. 9 times it took. I don't care how many times it takes. I want to keep, that woman's a mother to a 3- and 5-year-old. She has parents and siblings. I want to keep people alive till we can get them help.
Angela, it's so brave of you to be a spokesperson and advocate, and keep on doing that work too.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good to chat with you again.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be right back.
TV night, so if that's the case for you, tonight is the season 48 finale of Survivor. This season made history when it featured the show's first contestant with autism, Eva Erickson.
The 24-year-old shared a now viral moment with her former tribe mate, Joe Hunter. During one of the challenges, Erickson began crying uncontrollably. Host Jeff Probst allowed Hunter, the only person Erickson had confided in about her autism diagnosis, to comfort her. Now they are both finalists. Ahead of tonight's finale, the two appeared on CBS Mornings.
We'd been together since day one, right? Like Otto were together. We knew even prior to this, me sharing that I had autism, we connected really close, and we had agreed on that first day that we were going to stick by each other through everything, that we would have each other's back, and that just intensified as we had this amazing moment where he was there for me in one of my toughest points on the island.
That was something that, you know, in real time is kind of hard to put into words, but just so fortunate that I could be there with her through that.
You can see the last episode of Survivor's latest season tonight at 7 o'clock right here on CBS. We'll be right back.
Coming up tomorrow on Live at 4, good news in the fight against dementia in the U.S. Dr. Zorba Pastor stops by to talk about it. And later on News 3 Now at 5, who is the Republican who's already announced his run for Wisconsin governor? Will Keneally tells us. Thanks for joining us for our new Live at 4 program. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.